What is going on, Schmidt heads? Welcome back to another week of Undercover Picks. I'm your host, Joe Schmidt, and last week we did not have a good week at all. We went 4 for 16 overall on the spreads. That's probably one of my top 3 worst weeks ever, so don't expect that to happen again anytime soon. It was a wacky week last week anyway. The wackiness did not work in our favor at all. And if that's the way I'm going to have a bad week, I'm not going to harp on it for too long. So let's get into this week. Let's get back on the right pace. We're 24 for 48 overall because of that bad week. But, and what are we? 6 and 11 total on the money picks. So that's going somewhat good for us against the spread. Maybe next year or sometime this year, if I have more time, I will post more videos on all the other bets that I place. But right now, we'll just keep continuing to go with all my against the spread picks. So, starting this video late, Thursday we had Seattle at Arizona. Arizona was minus a half a point. So it was pretty much a pick 'em. And I did pick Seattle to win and to cover. If you don't believe me, I hate that this is the way I got to document it, but there we go. I have Seattle. And that's what I got going right now. But I did pick them because I think Kyler Murray's inconsistent. I think Seattle's defense is just too good, and he wasn't going to be able to do enough to be able to keep up. I do like Seattle's offense. I do think at times it might be inconsistent, like it kind of was on Thursday. They need to run with Walker more, I believe. They're using Charbonnet too much when they don't need to. But other than that, they got the cover. It wasn't really close. They made it look close at the end, but it was an easy cover. I was worried that maybe there'd be some crazy special teams plays again, maybe, or just pass interference penalties, or somehow the Seahawks would screw themselves out of that cover. It didn't happen. So far, we're starting the week off 1-0. But anyway, let's get to the next game. Sunday morning, we got a game in Dublin, folks. We got the Minnesota Vikings at, technically, the Pittsburgh Steelers. Steelers are plus 2.5. Steelers are underdogs here. 2-1 teams going at it. Vikings have been putting up more points, looking better offensively and defensively than the Steelers have. Steelers, their defense is playing underwhelmingly bad, or they just look underwhelming and they're playing bad. Is what I meant to say. They just, I think here they step it up a little bit. I don't think they're gonna look good all year, but I think they'll look a lot better this week against the Vikings. I don't think Carson Wentz is going to tear up the Steelers' defense. Steelers' defense forced 5 turnovers last week, and Steelers just barely covered that game against the Patriots. So that's a concern, but it was good to see that Steelers' defense making plays again and doing what they do. They had 2 turnovers right there in the end zone that could have been touchdowns. So, they could have got blown out last week, but their defense stepped up and made plays. And I think that'll happen again this week against Carson Wentz. I don't think Wentz is all that great. He only threw 170-something yards last week. Vikings defense did all the work pretty much last week to get that win. That was kind of like... I don't expect them to have a performance like that again this week at all. Aaron Rodgers, Steelers, they could get to the top of their division with this win. So, because we all know the Bengals ain't going to they're not gonna win with Brown in. So Steelers are in a good spot here if they win this week. So I think they're gonna play a hard game. I do like Mike Tomlin as an underdog. I just think, and with the field conditions, I think that works in the Steelers' favor this week. Minnesota's a dome team, and these grassy fields are going to be muddy, maybe partially slick. They're not going to be like what they're used to, but Steelers, they play on grass still, so I think they're better equipped to deal with whatever, if there is any field conditions. I don't think I got anything else more on this game, but I think the Vikings D is probably facing arguably probably the best QB that they've faced this year in Aaron Rodgers, but the Steelers don't have a great offense. I do think Rodgers can connect to Metcalf, and maybe we'll see him utilize other players and see if this offense can get going. They need to get the run game going. I don't see it happening this week, but I think this is going to be a slightly low-scoring game, like mid-low scoring, and Steelers pull off a win in Dublin. And I don't see Vikings going, what's their record? I don't see them going 3-1 to start the season with Carson Wentz. He got his win last week, and I think that's all he's going to get. And then after this week, we'll see McCarthy back in the lineup. But yeah, I got a weird feeling. As bad as the Steelers looked, everything, Vikings should be the easy pick here, right? They should be the easy pick, but I just got this feeling in my gut that the Steelers take this. Yeah, the world's gonna be a little shocked or a little surprised. Like the Vikings, I don't think are, especially with Wentz, gonna be what everybody thinks they're cracked up to be. Even maybe with McCarthy, we still need to see more from him, but I know what I'm getting out of Wentz. He's a decent quarterback, but especially with the Steelers probably putting pressure on him. I think they got some defensive players coming back as well. Yeah, I don't know. I just feel something in my gut. All right, next game. This game I kept going back and forth. We have 3 money picks, by the way, this week. 3 money picks. But anyway, this game, we got Washington Commanders at the Atlanta Falcons. The Falcons are -2 or +2.5. I got the Falcons to cover here and Commanders to win. You know what? No, I'm going to go with Atlanta to win and to cover. I don't know. McLaurin will be out. Jaden Daniels is out. Mariota's proved that he could play. He's probably one of the best backups in the league. He should be starting for a team with some of these starters that you see on starting today in the NFL. But I don't he's a backup for a reason, he had enough chances as a starter. He's not going to play fantastic every game, so I can't count that he's going to have a game like last week. Again, especially against the Atlanta defense, I think is still pretty good, even though they got crushed 30-0 last week against the Panthers. I'm kind of going to throw that one out. I still think their defense looked pretty good that game. They held the Panthers to a low amount of yards. But it was their offense, the Falcons' offense, that just kept putting them in bad positions. Couldn't convert on third down. They couldn't keep them off the field. So I don't see that happening 2 weeks in a row with the offense. Their offense, this roster, they should be putting up points, or at least putting up yards. And it just hasn't happened yet. And I'm kind of banking on their offense to step it up a little this game, especially after getting shut out last week. They got to play with some sort of urgency, right? And against the Commanders team that's banged up, isn't both sides of the ball, definitely on offense. They still got a good team. That's why I can't put money on this, and I kept going back and forth, but and I might switch it, but I doubt I will. I'm gonna stick with the Falcons to cover this game. Penix, they're talking about will he get benched? I don't think that's gonna happen. Not for a while anyway. He's gonna have to keep playing bad and having bad games and losing and turning the ball over, stuff like that. But I do think we see more of a pass and attack from the Falcons this week. They got a great run game. I think they could have a good week rushing the ball. And yeah, they're home. That doesn't really matter to me, but they're home. And Commanders, I think, just need they're gonna get a tough loss this week. A game that they should win, but they just got too many injuries. And the Falcons' defense is actually pretty decent and good in my opinion. And I think they'll be able to slow down this Commanders a lot easier because they just don't got their best players. They're not going to be out there on the field, so it won't be as tough of a matchup for the defense. I don't think I got much more for that game, but yeah, banking on the Falcons having a bounce back week after a poor outing last week against a Panthers team who shouldn't be blowing out anybody. But it was just a bad week, I think. And hopefully they switch some things up and start looking a lot better on offense. Next game, we got New England Patriots at the... No, I'm sorry. We got the New Orleans Saints at the Buffalo Bills. Bills are minus 16.5. I don't got a lot to say about this game. It's obvious the Bills are the much better team on both sides of the ball. Rattlers never won a game. Saints, in the majority's opinion, is supposed to be the worst team this year, and they're proving that. It doesn't look like that's going to change. It looks like everybody was right about that. But they are 0-3. Buffalo is 3-0, I believe, right? They didn't lose. But I don't know what it is. 16.5 is a lot of points. I might make it a strategy this year to never try to pick a team that's losing 16.5 points, which would be the Bills this week. So I'm going to ride with the Saints to cover the spread, the 16.5. The Bills are going to win, no doubt about that, unless Josh Allen gets injured or something crazy happens. But the Saints, I think they got to fight. Rattler is definitely going to fight. He doesn't want to lose his starting job because there's no way after not winning a game and losing your starting job that any other team is going to come looking for you, So this might be his last chance as early as his career is. I'm sure some teams will take him in, but as a starter, even a second string. So he's going to definitely try to play harder. He hasn't looked terrible. They've been keeping games close this year, the Saints. Except for last week, obviously, they got dominated. But could that happen 2 weeks in a row? Yes, especially against the Bills. I do think the Bills should beat the Saints by more than 17 points. But 17 points is a lot in the NFL. All right, these are all professional players, right? That's what we're supposed to believe. So I'm just gonna go with the Saints. They're gonna play some football. They're not just gonna give up and let the Bills run all over them. The Bills should probably still win by double digits, maybe 14. Yeah. Hopefully not 17 or more points. The Bills didn't cover against the Dolphins last week due to a missed field goal, really. They would have covered if they didn't miss a field goal. But, yeah, I just don't see the Bills trying to run over the Saints. Even if they do win, I could see them trying to do slow, methodical drives just to get the game in, and I don't see them trying to have great offensive output this week. I just see them trying to get a win and get out of there. Well, not get out of there, they're home, but, just get a win and on to the next week. Worry about the Patriots. I believe they play the Patriots next week, a division matchup. So, and the Saints are going to play hard. Like, the Bills could take their starters out maybe at some point in the fourth quarter, and we could get a backdoor. If the Saints score first, 16.5 is a lot of points. I guess it's just what I'm getting at. So, and the Saints are due to cover. They haven't covered yet this year, so I'm just going to ride with the Saints. Not feeling great about that at all, but either way, Saints or Bills, that spread is too big for me to put money on either side. So, yeah, I'm just going to hope that New Orleans defense somehow slows down the Bills offense enough. Josh Allen can spread the ball. He can ball out. No matter who he has at receiver, it looks like he can get him the ball. So it's going to be tough, but I think the Saints pull it off. 0-3 against the spread. They got to cover. And with this many points, it's a lot of points. I don't got much more to say about it. Next game. This one's a money pick, everyone. This one is a money pick. We got the Cleveland Browns at the Detroit Lions. Lions are -8.5. I got my money on the Lions to cover this, to win and to cover the 8.5 points. Now, Cleveland's defense is nasty. Don't get me wrong, they've stopped a bunch of good offenses this year. Not a bunch, it's only been 3 weeks, but they stopped some. They proved they can stop good offenses. But the Lions, and the Browns' offense isn't good at all. Lions look like their offense is still top tier. They could still put up a crap ton of points. They don't need a coordinator to do that. And I just don't see a scenario where the Browns, unless the Lions absolutely shoot themselves in the foot, anything could happen. But I feel really good about the Lions winning this game and covering it. The 8.5. That's why I'm putting my money on this one. I think they're going to put up points. The Browns defense will look like human again. They'll still have a good game, I believe, but I don't see their offense keeping up with the Lions. And the Lions are going to put up points. Unless this is the year where the Browns are the number one defense that just hardly give up points to any team they face this year. I doubt it. Detroit's defense is looking a lot better this year. Since they're healthy, they got to Lamar Jackson 7 times last week, and that's Lamar Jackson. Now this week they're going up against a slow Joe Flacco. And, Joe Flacco at some point in the season is going to see the bench. And we're going to see another quarterback start for the Browns. I've been saying that since week 1. I just don't know when it's going to be. I see it happening around week, it could be this week. But I see it really happen around, week 6, maybe week 7 or 8. Because that's what the Browns do. They wait till their season's, over or already in the gutter before they start trying new shit. So, yeah. I'm feeling pretty confident about this. The Browns just won one. Green Bay pretty much gave it to them last week. So off that dramatic win, they're not going to be, the Lions team ain't going to. I just don't see that happening twice. Yeah, for all the reasons I stated, Lions win, cover, money on that one. We're going to get back up on the money picks, 6-11 for money picks this year. We're going to make that look a lot better after this week. Next game, we got the Tennessee Titans at the Houston Texans. Texans are -7.5. That's a lot of points. I don't know why they're -7.5. That is kind of fishy to me. That's the only thing that worries me about this pick. I'm going Tennessee to cover the spread. And could they win? I don't know. Both these teams are 0-3. I think the Texans should win this game, but they're both 0-3. Texans have a bad offense. They can't put up points. They need all their superstars back, and they're not coming back anytime soon. Certainly not this week. Cam Ward is, he's a rookie, but he hasn't been really making too many rookie mistakes, in my opinion. He's going against a really good defense, but I do believe this will be a low-scoring game since Texans can't score, and they should win this matchup, but will it be by 8 points or more? I don't see that happening. And then even if they are winning by that more than that, by 8 or more points, I see a backdoor happening. Tennessee, they're due to cover as well. They haven't covered yet this year, I don't believe. Yeah, I wish I looked that one up. But I don't believe they covered this year yet. And if there's a week they're going to cover, this is the week. You're getting 7.5 points against a Houston team that can't fucking score the ball. The defense is the only thing that worries me really about this game with Houston. They got a nasty defense, and there's a rookie quarterback on the other side, and that could cause turnovers, and we could see a blowout potentially. But I'm going to ride with the Titans. Other than that thing I just stated, I feel really good about the Titans covering this, and I would put money on it if Houston's defense wasn't so good. Next game, we have the Carolina Panthers at the New England Patriots. Patriots are minus 5.5. Now, I got the Patriots to win and to cover here. I think this should be easy. I want to put money on it, but the Panthers, for some reason, the back end of last year and even going into this year, as bad as they're supposed to be, they'll somehow in the fourth quarter just play phenomenal. Well, last week they won 30-0, so they played good all game, but I'm not giving too much credit to the Panthers offense on that one. That was a just bad performance by the Falcons. They didn't have to do much to win that game. Turnovers, all that stuff, just put the Panthers in good position all the time. I'm not a believer in Bryce Young at all. I don't think he's good. He shouldn't be a starter. And the Patriots, they've been looking good. Like last week, they turned the ball over 5 times. That was their kryptonite. And twice right in the end zone. So 2 could be scores turned into turnovers. And they still barely lost that game. Still had a chance to win it at the end. Their offense is looking good. They can definitely move the ball. They proved they can move the ball. So even though they didn't put up a lot of points last week, they could have, scored 2 more touchdowns. They were moving the ball. So they found ways to move the ball this year, the New England's offense did, and their defense is playing like a top 5 defense right now. They could be in contention for a top 5 defense this year. They're getting Gonzalez back this week to shut down McMillan, is that his name? And then who is Bryce Young going to throw to? Legette's out. Even if he wasn't, he ain't catching the ball. And I believe Hubbard's questionable. He's probably going to play. But the Patriots defense I expect is going to continue to play good defense. And their offense is going to continue to move the ball, especially against the Panthers defense that's, I think, bottom tier. Obviously, they didn't give up anything last week and looked really good. But, we'll find out this week. But I really do think that was a bad game by the Falcons. Still early in the year, too hard to tell. We'll definitely find out this week, though, if the Falcons' offense is ever going to do anything. But getting back to this game, I just think the New England's going to continue to move the ball. They turned the ball over 5 times last week, so they're definitely going to do a better job protecting it this week. They probably practice all week, I would imagine, on holding on to the ball. So, yeah, Patriots to win, Patriots to cover. They're the better team. I think Panthers plus 5.5. Same record as the Pats, and especially after a week they had last week, winning 30-0. That's very, very questionable. Why do they have 5.5? It's like they want me to take the Panthers. Maybe they do. Maybe Vegas hands out gifts sometimes, and we just don't know about it. But it's real fishy, so I got that working in my favor as well. I'm going to go New England to win the cover here, and it might be an easy win. We might actually, I'm a Pats fan, so I might actually get to relax during the fourth quarter. Next game, we got the Los Angeles Chargers at the New York Giants. Giants are plus 6.5. Now, this might shock a lot of you, but I'm actually going to go with the Giants to cover here, but the Chargers to win. Chargers are 3-0. I think that's crazy. When's the last time they had a good start to the season? I don't remember how their season started last year, but I feel like they always start 0-2, 1-3. They just always have to climb back up, and then they eventually have a pretty decent year. But now they're starting 3-0. What's their record going to be at the end of the year? I think they might win the division. I might have said that in one of my beginning videos. I gotta go back and watch my week 1 video because I believe I did say the Chargers would win the division, and right now that's the way it's looking. Herbert's looking really good too, though. He's killing it. He's playing good, completing passes, not turning the ball over, whatnot. Chargers offense, their defense looks really good. Their offense is scoring, but they haven't. I don't know if I'm completely sold on the Chargers being able to play consistent offensively throughout the year. I think the way they look, the way some of their games have looked this year, when I see them play, it looks like they will have those weeks, where they just don't get it together. And it'll be a tough, they only put up like 14, 13, 17 points. And I think that could be a week like against the Giants. I think that might be how their week goes. They've traveled a lot. There hasn't been a week where they haven't been ping-ponging back and forth. They started the year in Brazil. Then I think they go to an away game. Then they go back home. Now they're moving back across the country to New York. It's a lot of traveling. Their games have been close. I don't think they blew anyone out last week. I don't believe so. Who did they play last week? Let me just double check on that. Yeah. No, they had a good win last week against Denver. But Denver isn't all that impressive, are they? The Bo Nix, he hasn't been playing up to expectations. I don't really think Denver has a great offense. Like, who are their receivers, They got good coaching, and I think that's about it on Denver. So I'm not going to give the Chargers are props. I do think they'll win the division. They're going to be a great team this year, but I do think they'll have their bad weeks, this week being one of them. I'm going with the Giants to cover here, Chargers to win. But we got Dart playing for the Giants too. I think that's a huge upgrade. Russell Wilson, he's seen his time. When's the last time he's made a team good? He left Seattle, and then Denver dropped him. Now the Giants already dropped him. This is the last situation. They don't think their team's at all ready to put a rookie quarterback in there, but here we go. And I think he's gonna show out. Preseason doesn't mean shit to me, but he did play good during the preseason. The only reason why I mentioned the preseason is because he is a rookie. So he's still playing against NFL caliber players, even though it's second string and whatnot. And I don't think Wilson played at all in the preseason. So I don't know why they didn't just stick with this guy. He was looking pretty good. And whatever. I think he's going to look good this week. I hope he'll look better than Wilson anyway. And like I said, Wilson just, I think, makes teams worse. Like, you got Bo Nix starting for Denver, not looking great this year, and I still think, like, I'd much rather him starting than Russell Wilson. So I don't know if he'll be starting for a team ever again. But here we go. New era for the Giants. Dart, baby. I think their defense is going to play with some heart. For some reason, the Giants, year after year, they always have those games where they just go hard, and this is going to be one of them. 0-3 versus 3-0. They're going to want to try and prove a point here, I think, and win this game. Show that they got their quarterback, and now they're ready to play some ball. I could be absolutely wrong. I do think the Chargers is a way better team, and Dart's got a lot to prove. He hasn't played a single game yet. But I don't know. I just see that playing out for some reason. I don't really have a lot of. Giants defense is still pretty good, and I think, like I said, Chargers offense is gonna have those bad weeks. So I think we see, that be one of them, because the Giants have a pretty solid defense, and 6.5 points, that's a lot. Especially when you're the home team and you get 6.5 points, and the Chargers traveling and all that, and just in my previous experiences, whenever a team's traveling all that, I'm like, I ain't gonna listen. Who cares if they're traveling? Like, that shouldn't make a fucking difference, right? It does somehow, for some reason, some way. So I'm gonna go with that gut feeling that somehow, some way, whatever, that's gonna have a big impact on this game. And Giants to cover. I don't think I have much more to say about that. I know the Chargers lost Najee Harris. Now they still got a great rookie running back, but I do think that's big, because he's definitely a get it done type of guy, type of player. He would come through in clutch moments. But anyway, let's get to the next game. This game's gonna be it might be a money pick. I'm leaning towards a money pick, but right now, as of now, it is not a money pick. If I make it a money pick, pay attention to my short. I'll post my short before 1 o'clock tomorrow, and that'll have all my official locked picks. So far right now, everything I've given you is locked. I might switch Washington and Atlanta. That's it. But anyway, we got the Philadelphia Eagles at Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers are plus 3.5. I got the Bucs to win and to cover this game. Now, the win I'm not confident about, but the cover, and I'm pretty confident about. All their games have been close this year. They're 3-0. This is the battle of the 3-0 teams. And I think, as close as the Bucs games have been this year and how they've all pretty much been comeback drives, I just think they've looked better offensively. They haven't looked better than the Eagles. I just I like Baker Mayfield. He's a gunslinger. It doesn't matter who he has. He's going to get the ball and throw it for yards, like get a lot of yards, chunk plays. He hasn't turned the ball over this year. So far, he's improved a lot on turning the ball over. He's only thrown one interception this year. And hopefully that keeps up. If he can keep up that play, I can see them cover in this game. And if they keep it close like they've always have, it's an easy cover. So maybe that's slightly suspicious, but they are going against the Super Bowl champs, and they're 3-0 as well. They got lucky last week. They should be 2-1. And I honestly, I'm not sold on the Eagles. I don't like their offense. I think it's very inconsistent with the passing and the running. Like, they get, like, I don't know how they came back last week. I should watch the highlights. By the way, the reason why this video is dropping so late is because I had a very busy weekend. Had a bachelor party to go to, so that's why I'm so late dropping this video. But I had to get it out for the documentation. Even though I'm dropping it late, it might not get a lot of views. The documentation will be out there. I'm feeling very good about this week, oddly enough. Definitely should be better than last week. So we're on Philadelphia and Tampa Bay. Yeah, I just think Tampa Bay always gives Philadelphia a hard time. I believe they won 6 out of the last 7 matchups, and they just always give the Eagles a hard time. I don't know why. And the Bucks have a pretty good defense. So do the Eagles. The Eagles showed last week that you could run on them, and I like the Bucks running game a lot. I like the way they use Bucky Irvin. And Baker Mayfield could also scramble, and he's gonna take a hit. I like him. He's a dog, man, and he can get the game winning. Like, I feel like if Baker Mayfield was on the Eagles, maybe their passing game would look a lot better right now. Like, that's what I'm thinking in my head. I know Jalen Hurts, Super Bowl winning quarterback, so I'm not gonna hate on him, but he looks slouchy a lot. I don't know. But yeah, I got the Bucks. And I might put my money on the Bucks. Stay tuned to my short before 1 o'clock, before these games start. I'll post a short with all my picks, which ones I'm putting money on. So next game, this one's a money pick for sure. This is my second money pick I'm giving out of the week. Third money pick coming soon. But second money pick, we got the Indianapolis Colts at the Los Angeles Rams. Rams are -3.5. Off the bat, I think this is a fishy spread, especially the way the Colts have been playing. They've only punted the ball once, and they've been winning. It hasn't really been. They've had a couple dramatic wins, but they haven't really played any good teams from what I've seen. Who did they play? No one that fantastic. As of the Rams, they haven't really played good teams either, but they played the Eagles last week, and they should have won that game. I think the Rams' offense looks really good. Colts' offense obviously looks really good, but I don't see them having another week where they don't punt the ball. It's going to happen. They're going to have to punt the ball and play this week smart, because they're going against a team that if you don't convert on 4th down, like, you're going to regret it. I like the Rams offense. They can move the ball, running, passing. Stafford's killing it this year. They kind of collapsed last week. The way they lost, they're going to come into this game hungry, you know what I mean? And obviously the Colts are going to want to keep their record undefeated, so they might be hungry as well, but this is going to be the toughest matchup they've had all year. And I think that change of pace is going to affect their offense, and you're going to see them punting the ball a lot more this week. Talking about the Colts. So I got my money on this. I'm feeling really good about it. I think Stafford's gonna show out. They're gonna just play a better game than the Colts overall. And the Colts, I think they're legit this year. Don't get me wrong. I think they're still gonna look good. Um, do they win their division? Who knows? It's still early, but definitely they don't gotta worry about Tennessee or Houston. It might be tight between them and the Jags. Uh, that's what I think at the end of the year. But the Colts, they're legit. Their offense is still good, but they're gonna slow down a little bit this week, fall back to earth just a little bit. They'll still have their great fucking weeks, I believe. But yeah, we're gonna see this week that they're gonna punt the ball, and Rams are gonna win and cover, and Colts will get their first loss of the season, and then them and Jags will be tied in first place 3-1, which brings me to the next game. The Jacksonville Jaguars at the 49ers. Niners are -3.5. Just to be clear, money on the Rams -3.5. Second money pick. Now, I got the Jags to cover this game +3.5. Now, I feel good about it, but not good enough to put my money on it because the Niners have a nasty defense. Purdy's coming back. As much as I think the Niners offense shouldn't be that good, they keep scoring, putting up points. Last week, not so much. Freaking Mac Jones, he let us down last week. And I don't know, I don't think the Niners should be 3-0 right now. So I do think there's a good chance they could lose this week. But Jacksonville Jags, they've been looking pretty good on both sides of the ball. Their one loss they let get away from them. They should have won that game. But they did everything they could to lose it. But they're still 2-1. And Trevor Lawrence hasn't looked good at all this year. I think he's due for a good game. Even though this is the Niners defense, but they are banged up on both sides of the ball. The Niners are. So I think at some point, as well prepared they are for these situations when they get injuries, and as good as they're coaching, and at some point it's gonna catch up to them. And you're gonna see the commentators and people on ESPN talking about the Niners need to get healthy. They can't keep believing they're gonna win games like this. Yada yada yada. So that's what I think about that game. I think it will be a close game. I think it'll come down in the last drive most likely. But Jacksonville, I don't know. I think this is the game we're going to see if they're for real or they're just going to be the same Jaguars we saw the past 2 years, your 6 or 7 win team. But I do believe the Jacksonville Jaguars will win at least 9 games this year. So we'll see I think I got a future bet in for that too. Next game. I got money on this game. This is the third money pick, last money pick of the week. We got the Baltimore Ravens at the Kansas City Chiefs. Chiefs are +2.5. Chiefs are +2.5. I got my money on the Ravens this one. This should be an easy pick, right? That's the only thing that worries me. I think it's too easy. Ravens should be losing more points. The Chiefs, I think, are garbage. Maybe they're just giving Mahomes too much credit. I do remember as a Pats fan, I would look at the spreads of a lot of Pats games and be like, how are we only getting 3.5 points? We suck. Or, same thing with the Bucks, but it was because they had Brady. They would be losing points. I feel Brady would never be an underdog. So it's rare and whenever Brady was an underdog, it would be low points. I think that's the same situation we're seeing with Mahomes here. That's why I brought all that up. So I think Ravens should run over the Chiefs, especially the two games the Ravens lost. Maybe they shouldn't have won against the Lions, but they could definitely anyone could definitely argue that they lost those games themselves, that they were in positions to win those games, and they just blew it. Derrick Henry fumbling the ball 2 weeks in a row, two costly fumbles, two game-losing fumbles. I think he's going to run angry. I don't see that happening 3 weeks in a row. That's impossible, right? So Derrick Henry's going to kill it. He's going to run angry at least. I guess you got to worry about Spagnuolo maybe cooking up some sort of defensive plan. And Jackson did get sacked 7 times last week. So I don't think that happens twice. They'll be better prepared with the blocking, I believe. And I don't know why they wanted to run with Jackson so much last week. I know Derrick Henry fumbled the ball, but he's still a beast. He's got a big resume. I don't care if he fumbles the ball 5 times in a game. I don't think you should ever take him out. He's a fucking beast. So, yeah, I'm going with the Ravens. This should be an easy cover. Maybe it'll be dramatic, but it is hard to see Mahomes starting 1-3. But yeah, I gotta go Ravens to win in the cover here. It's hard to see them starting 1-3. I didn't see a scenario this year where either team was 1-3. But here we are. So I think Ravens got this. They're definitely the better team, way better offense. I don't think Chiefs have an offense that can keep up with the Ravens. If the Ravens start scoring like they should, no way the Chiefs, Mahomes, as athletic and acrobatic, whatever he is, he's not going to be able to create enough plays to keep up with that type of scoring. They don't have an offense. He has nobody to throw to. Kelsey is slow and old. Maybe, they could have a good read together, good chemistry, and get a completed pass, or he'll be 10, 15 yards open. That's the only time Kelsey makes plays anymore. He can't put a team on his back. I hope I don't eat all this, because, I believe there is still a couple good games left in Kelsey, but and the funny thing is the Chiefs injured all their best players. Their 2 best receivers are injured because of Mahomes and Kelsey. But anyway, yep, easy money pick, I believe. Next game, and I'm gonna start speeding this up since we're past the money picks. And like I said, short week. I started running out of notes. See the bottom of the page how empty it's looking on those last few games. I'm going to spit free ball this one. I'm making up words now. All right. Chicago Bears at the Las Vegas Raiders. Raiders are minus a half a point. Another pick 'em. The Chicago Bears, another pick 'em week, 2 weeks in a row after they completely blew out the Cowboys. So I think that's odd. I don't know why and they're not favored. They're the underdogs against 1-2 Raiders teams. So we got 2 1-2 teams here. Now the Bears were playing a very leaky, spotty Cowboys defense, and the Cowboys defense gave up 2 huge plays. So I'm not gonna. And I know they got a top offensive coordinator, and that stuff's supposed to happen with the Chicago Bears. They're supposed to be putting up points like that. I think they got a good offense, but at the same time, I'm not sold just because that was against the Cowboys defense. So, and I ain't sold on Caleb Williams either. So, and Raiders, oh gosh. They're a tough team. This is a game this is the second game I might switch, so stay tuned to my short before 1 o'clock tomorrow. I'm going to post a YouTube short with all my picks. But, yeah, I don't believe, I just got one of those odd gut feelings that the Raiders win this game. I don't know. That Geno plays better than Caleb Williams, and the Raiders defense steps up, especially after their poor showing. Like, the Raiders, the past couple of years have been known for a good defense, and last week they really shit the bed. So I think they're going to try to step it up this week. And same thing with their offense. I don't know. It's a tough one. It's a pick 'em. So I'm pretty much saying I think the Raiders are going to win. I think they should be like maybe 2-3 point underdogs in this game, and here we are at a straight up pick 'em. So just based off of that fishiness, I think solely off that fishiness and the fact that I still think Geno Smith can have good games, and the Raiders defense could still have good games. They got Max Crosby. Yeah, I think, and they're at home. I think they need to be at home this week. Raiders to win and to cover the 0.5 point against the Chicago Bears. Next game, we got the Green Bay Packers at the Dallas Cowboys. Oh, so much drama. Cowboys are plus 6.5. Now, it seems like Cowboys would be the easy pick here, but especially after Packers couldn't hold it together against a Browns team that can barely score. We at least know Cowboys can move the ball on offense, but without CeeDee Lamb, they did struggle a bit, and it looked like Prescott's favorite target was Ferguson, which doesn't bother me too much. He's on my fantasy team. And instead of Pickens, though, Pickens should be the guy he's throwing to, so maybe they'll try to build some sort of chemistry this week. It doesn't matter. This is Parsons' revenge game. I think he's going to get at the quarterback. He's going to be stuffing runs. Like, he's going to make sure not one play is negative for him. That's how I would be if I were him anyway. And this Packers defense is still really good. Like, even though they lost last week, they only gave up 13 points. And they haven't been giving up a lot of points this year at all. So I do believe Packers should completely blow out the Cowboys. I'd want to make this a money pick, but because of how bad they played last week, I'm gonna wait a little bit on the Packers to see what they do this week if I want to ever put money on them. But this should be an easy pick. Packers at Cowboys. Cowboys plus 6.5. I'm going with the Packers to cover. I don't got much more written down on that. Green Bay needs a bounce back. That's another thing. They're gonna need they just need a bounce back. The way they lost last week, they can't be they should be taking every drive seriously, no matter how much they're up by. I doubt the coaches are gonna want to see any slacking out there. The Monday night games. Alright, here we go. Monday night. Finally there. Another long video. I don't know why I always try to make these short, but I just keep yapping. Hopefully this week my yapping does more good than it does bad. We got the New York Jets at the Miami Dolphins. Now this is Monday, a long way away. I still got time to think about these games even after the Sunday games are over, so I'm not going to have much to say on this. The Jets versus the Dolphins. Dolphins are minus 2.5. I'm going with the Jets to cover here. Maybe win. The battle of the 0-3s. I believe this is our second battle of the 0-3s. This, is it? Do we have another 0-3 versus an 0-3? Yes, we do. The Titans and Texans. This is our second battle of the 0-3s. But the Dolphins, I think it's just apparent from what I saw last year, the year before that, and then especially this year, that there's going to be no rebuilding of this team. They're not going to, with these same players, the same guys on the same offense, they're not going to return to what they were. And even what they were wasn't that great. It was only great when they were playing at home. Away games, not even at home, when they were playing losing record teams. So that's even worse. When they were playing teams with a winning record, they didn't look too hot. They weren't winning. So the Dolphins were never really good with the players they have, with Tua, with Tyreek, with Waddle. They're capable of putting up monster scores. They're capable of blowing teams out, but inconsistent as all hell. I don't know how else to put it, because they don't do that week in and week out. They haven't really done that yet this year. They put up points against the Patriots, I guess, but that was that was a crazy game. There was kick returns, That wasn't really their offense putting up those points. The Jets are the Jets, and the Dolphins are the Dolphins. So it's such a tough game to pick, because they both could just disappoint the hell out of you, no matter how confident you are in them. But I'm gonna go with the Jets in this game, just because I just see the Dolphins season going downhill. I don't see it getting any better. I do like Fields a lot. I see him making plays. He should be coming back this week, especially with that extra day. I believe he should play. And the Jets, I don't know. I think I said at the beginning of the year I thought the Dolphins would be the worst team. I'm going to ride with that. Well, I don't know if I said that, but right now that's what I believe. They're going to be the worst team in the division, AFC East. Last game, finally. Let's see if I can cut this video to under an hour. We got the Cincinnati Bengals at the Denver Broncos. Broncos are -7.5. I'm going with the Broncos to win in the cover here. Bengals, they're nothing without Burrow. They didn't look that great with Burrow. Their defense looked better with Burrow, but now they look worse. Browning, he's a losing quarterback now, so there's not much you could say about him. He's turning the ball over. Even the game that he somehow covered against the Jags, like I said, the Jags gave that game to the Bengals. He turned the ball over. So, and Bengals don't have a defense that could be dealing with turnovers. They looked a little better at the beginning of the year, but I think we're going to start to see the Bengals crumble. They might put up some fight in this game, but and the Broncos don't look great either. You know what I mean? But I think them being -7.5, a 1-2 team being -7.5 against a 2-1 team, even though they did lose Burrow. If they had Burrow, would it be -7.5? Would it be minus at all? Or would the Bengals be favored here? So, I don't think Burrow is that big of a point difference. And the fact that they're -7.5, that's real fishy to me. So based on that, I might just stick with the Broncos, but Monday's a long way away. I haven't even looked into that game yet. As of now, for the video's sake, we're going to go with the Broncos to cover. But if you stuck around this long, you are a true Schmidt head. We have 3 money picks this week. We're going with Detroit -8.5, Los Angeles Rams -3.5, and the Baltimore Ravens -2.5. Those are the money picks. Stay tuned for my Sunday short. I might add one more money pick. That would be Tampa Bay at +3.5. And yeah, I have a couple switches that might happen. Highly doubt it. The money pick might be a thing. But as of now, thanks for sticking around for this long. Good luck this week to everybody. If you bet on any of these games, please bet responsibly. That's what I'm doing. I'm betting responsibly. All right. Peace.